What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty, the first full episode of season number 5, as well as we are getting to that first full opening week of the FCS Dynasty. Last episode was a little bit of an appetizer, and now we are moving on to that main course. Week number 2 action coming underway, and I hope you guys are really excited for it. If you are, make sure you go ahead and smack that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button as well. If you do happen to be brand new, and Maine is going to start things out in not such a bright spot, as we got a fumble recovery for the Samford Bulldogs. So that means that they are going to start out inside the 15-yard line. Not a ideal situation for the Maine Black Bears. As we jump into the first game of this episode, the Maine Black Bears, unranked, taking on a ranked Samford squad, number 17 in the entire country. They made the FCS playoffs last year, but both teams not getting off to a great start here offensively, as what we ended up noticing. So Samford takes over at the 14-yard line, but Ashton Hines here, he's going to throw an interception, and it's going to land in the hands of one of the DBs for the Maine Black Bears. So Samford got away with one, and so did Maine. We still got a pretty tight game as Flash Williams looks to try to break that up a little bit, as he's going to throw a beautiful dime down the left-hand side, and it's going to go for a nice completion that will give the Black Bears in the red zone for the very first time today. First and goal from the 5-yard line after the big play. Flash looks over to right-hand side, but that's going to be intercepted as well. That was tipped away. Flash Williams was trying to throw it towards the back of the end zone there, and sometimes just right place at the right time. So Samford will still hang on to the lead as they'll try to build off of it. Less than a minute left to play in this first half, as Ashton Hines going to take a sack right up the middle of the offensive line. That goes for a loss of 4. As now, 2nd and 14, going to get it out to the receiver on the sideline. He's able to run away from 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare fumble war, and he's also going to find that end zone 2, telling the Maine defense, you can't guard me. That's a touchdown for the Samford Bulldogs. It's Samford will go into the end of this first half, it seems like, with a 2-possession lead. And that will continue late into the third quarter. Samford with a chance to really pull away, striking again in Maine territory, as Hines will drop back once more. Fires over the left-hand side, but it's gonna be intercepted. Ron Johnson is going to get his second interception of this game. Will Smith III was also making that window very difficult to maintain. So Maine's defense holds up once again. It looks like it will continue to hold up, as they're still waiting for that offense to wake up. It is still have not waken up from hibernation just yet. We'll see if that changes here, as we got a 4th and 5. The punt is going to be up in the air, and it's going to go to be caught. And now we got a man down the sideline, and he is going to be gone like a girl in a country song. Touchdown, Maine. That will get the Black Bears back into this game, down by 10. Flash, he's going to fire over the middle of the field. That's caught. An incredible gain. And now Flash Williams, he's back in business. And one score will make this a 1-possession game. Can the Black Bears finish this drive? Goal line situation. Flash looks over to the right-hand side. It's tipped, but it lands in the hands of a tight end. So we see a tip go in the way of Samford down here at the goal line. And now the opposite has happened, going to an offensive player. So now just a 3-point game, but Samford, what they can do is they can run out the rest of the clock if they choose to, but they put the football on the ground when they try to run for the first down, trying to make sure that Maine used the rest of their timeouts, and instead, we're now looking at Maine potentially trying to take the lead. Less than 2 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. Can Flash Williams lead the comeback? Play action. Looks left. Fires. It's caught. Down to the 20-yard line. And almost he had that green glass. But he got caught from behind though. But we are looking at a 1st and goal from the 8-yard line now. And I'll tell you this right now. You're looking at somebody that could very well take the lead or bare minimal tie this game right back up. We'll see who wants it more, as Maine is 1 for 2 today on red zone possession so far. We'll see if they can make it 2 for free as Flash Williams runs the speed. Hofstra going to pitch it out to the tailback, and the tailback is going to dive into the end zone. Touchdown, Maine. Maine takes the lead, and they will maintain the lead the rest of this game as the Maine Black Bears start week number 2 with a huge upset victory, taking down the Samford Bulldogs on the road. The coach was gonna get it, getting the ice bath, so you know how much this game means. Considering this Maine squad, they have not been the FCS playoffs. They have not had very much success in this series in general, and then so to come out here at the start of year number 5 and pull that off, really proud of what this Maine squad has done. Tough loss, however, for the Samford Bulldogs as they lose their opening game, and this could very well get them outside the top 25, depending on what happens throughout the rest of this country as well. How about that to start the episode out? So we'll see if we have more excitement like that for the rest of this episode. Definitely have a lot to live up to. And now we jump to another game, one of 8 games here in this episode, as we got game number 2 on tap. We got the Brown Bears, the Ivy League defending champions, made it to the FCS playoffs last year. They will take on the Southern Jaguars, and I'm going to be really curious to see how the Southern Jaguars offense looks without Justin Johnson, who has since moved on to the NFL. But first, we're going to take a look at this Brown offense, and starting with a dime. How about this one-on-one coverage? Looks like a little bit of a wheel route, and you know what they say on those go routes: if he's even, he's leaving. And that's exactly what we saw there, as we'll see Marcus Johnson trying to jump into the pocket, and he's going to end up taking a sack, but not any kind of sack. Oh no, he will end up coughing up the football. So tough break for the Brown Bears there, as now we will see the Southern Jaguars take over. But what we end up seeing is Frederick McNair, he's the starting quarterback for the Southern Jaguars. He actually gets hurt, and he's out for the rest of this game as well. So that was Eric Mason that was in for the Southern Jaguars, backup quarterback, true freshman as well. And Brown snuffed it out. They're going to get the interception, take it all the way back to the crib. That's how we see this first score of the game. Same score though, 7-0. As we look over the left-hand side, it's going to be a nice throw down the sideline. Marcus Patrick gonna strike again, really striking in the direction of Joseph Pierre Martin, one of your guys' customs. And now the Bears are at midfield. Later on in the drive, looking over the left-hand side, it's caught again. Touchdown, Brown, and the Bears off to a great start. Their fans going absolutely crazy. And how about this young quarterback here? Really has developed, a senior. He has really stepped up, and so is Kobe Pace, who's going to finally get the scoring going for the Southern Jaguars, as we'll see a 71-yard touchdown for Kobe Pace. Able to break a couple of tackles too, found the hole, and he's going to run away from the rest of the defense as well. So now 14-7 lead here for the Brown Bears, as we'll see him drop back, looks over the left-hand side, fires, going to be caught again. He just continues to impress, as Damian Harris, he's putting this college football world on notice, as here he is on national television. He's having a great game so far. They did not call the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Sometimes when you see them celebrate a little bit long after that, they throw those flags, but not here. The refs are not soft here in year number 5, at least so far, and neither is this quarterback. Hanging tough in the pocket. He's going to throw a strike in the back of the end zone. It's the 3rd touchdown pass for Marcus Patrick. Oh, actually the 2nd touchdown pass, but again, Marcus Patrick, he's balling out today. He's having a great performance so far. Meanwhile, we'll see what the Southern squad has as Kobe Pace is going to run this football, start the drive. He's going to break a tackle, able to do a little bit of EA cheese, and can he stay in bounds? No. If Kobe Pace was able to keep his feet in bounds, that was going to be a touchdown, but great effort on this run. Breaks away from a couple of tackles, hits a little bit of that EA cheese as well. If you know, you know. But later on in the drive, though, Eric Mason gets hurt, and he's out for the game. So now, Seth Respris comes in. He's a freshman redshirt. He's the first-string quarterback for the Southern Jaguars. He's got to come into this game, and look what he does. First drive coming in. He's going to score a touchdown. Now they need a stop on defense. McCoy drops back. He's going to fire over the left-hand side. Marcus Patrick fires, and it's caught. Damian Harris is a menace to the Southern Jaguars defensive backfield. They're going to be having some nightmares tonight as Damian Harris has gone off in this game. 28-14. And now you got a first-string quarterback in the game, down by 2 scores. You got to throw the football. And how about this? His guy actually does make the catch. However, he puts the ball on the ground. He puts the football on the ground. You absolutely hate to see it, man. You do not like to see your guys getting exposed like that. But Brown, they cannot run out the rest of his clock yet. So Seth Respis gets another chance. And of course, first-string quarterback just not doing any favors whatsoever. So that ends up getting intercepted once again. Carl Jacobs does also get that interception here with 30 seconds left to go. And you know that fat lady is singing in the eyes of many Southern fans as they are starting to go for the exits before this game is over. And we get 2 top 25 upsets already. The Brown Bears win 28-14 being your final score. Great performance and a great show for the Ivy League as well to start this episode out, as this top 10 win is going to be the biggest upset victory that the Ivy League has accomplished in regular season play throughout the course of this series. And Brown, you know, they did this without being able to run the football at all. They had negative rushing yards. Southern was controlling the trenches, but you know, Southern, they turned the ball multiple times. They had those issues at quarterback. That was really the difference in this one. And now we'll see if these top 25 teams, are they going to go 0 for 3 here in the early going? We got another top 25 matchup. This time it's Southeastern. They snuck in number 25 in the preseason poll. And they will take on a North Carolina A&T squad who is going to be looking to bounce back. They were a team that made the playoffs in year number 3, but went just 2-9 in year 4. We'll see if North Carolina A&T can start this year off right. As now, dropping back, new quarterback for Southeast Louisiana, as their previous quarterback did end up graduating. So now, Grover is there under shotgun. He's going to face a blitz from North Carolina. The offensive line holds so, and we still know that this receiving core is absolutely dangerous. Mateo West letting it be known that he is not messing around and playing games, so one-on-one coverage, and just use that elite size to win over the corner. Now, Smoke Jane's going to have to respond right back. He's going to fire over the left-hand side, and he will provide the response as well. Smoke Jane's throwing across his body, frankly. This is an ill-advised throw, but you can see the arm talent that Smoke James has. He actually did have a good year last year. It's not his fault that his team went 2-9. It's this defense that is something else. Absolutely atrocious. RJ Smoke, true freshman, by the way, you guys. True freshman custom, able to get behind the defense, and is going to be able to score his first collegiate touchdown of his college career. So congratulations to him, doing it at home as well and doing it on national television. Southeast Louisiana, they now take the lead. So now 14-7 as the Aggies of North Carolina, they are able to drive the ball downfield a little bit more, but Smoke James does make a mistake here as Chris McClellan of the linebacking core for the Southeastern Lions, he's going to throw an interception. It stalls out the drive, And now here comes the Lions trying to put points up on the board before the end of the first half. Glover dropping back. He's going to fire to the right-hand side, but it's going to be underthrown. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea who Glover is looking at. No idea. Did he get confused? Did he thought one of the North Central A&T guys was wearing a Southeastern jersey? I have no idea, because the guy who was in the picture, way underthrown. That's what I would assume happened. But now Smoke James with a chance to tie here with 35 seconds left. His receiver makes the catch, but he kind of forgot about making, doing that protecting of the football. Smoke James does come in and makes the tackle to avoid the, giving up the touchdown on the defensive end. You hate to see it, though. And now the Aggies still down by one possession. Still a close game, by the way. It could still go either way, but a lot of mistakes in this game. This was a little bit sloppier of the game than some of the other games that, re-recorded for this week 2 episode. Is Smoke James going to throw yet another interception? He gets picked off once again. Had a clean pocket to work with. Did a good job stepping up, but should have put a little bit more air under that football. He threw a bullet instead, and that cost him dearly. So Southeast Louisiana, they were able to put up a field goal on that, as we'll go ahead and see this offense go back to work. After that interception, Southeast Louisiana, they went 3 and out, but they did get a field goal up on the board. So this is the biggest lead for the Southeastern Lions, or for either team as a matter, all day today. But Marcus Powell is looking to change that up, though. He gets to nearly midfield with this run. He's been really effective running the football, nearly 10 yards a carry. He's been balling out. We'll see if they go back to Marcus Powell. No, it's a play action instead. Firing over the middle, and it's caught. Touchdown, North Carolina A&T, and they cut into 3. And a chance to take the lead as well. Can Smoke James lead the comeback? Third, top 25 upset. It's caught. And another great throw by Smoke James. Parrish wide but naked open. And now a chance to take the lead. Smoke firing, but gets hit as he throws the football, and it causes an interception. We could see a big boy touchdown. No, we do not. And listen, if the Aggies lose this game, you know what happened here. It was the turnovers that ultimately made the difference. I mean, Green was just sitting there, barbecue on the titties, just kind of being a spy, and right place, right times. They were going to make a play on the ball. And Southeast Louisiana to get yet another field goal up on the board. So a 9-point lead. So Aggies, they got to score quickly. They do find their top receiver finally, Dante Randolph. He's been a little bit quiet today. He hasn't had any massive plays out there on the field, but he's had a very successful career so far going into his senior year. But he can't corral that catch in. He will just go out of bounds. And Southeastern, the first top 25 team in this episode to win their game. Southeastern is going to win 23-14, a very competitive game. But again, what killed North Carolina A&T with those turnovers? They turned the ball over way too many times. And when you're the underdog, you really cannot afford turning the ball over, or at least losing that turnover battle. It simply cannot happen. And North Carolina A&T, they lost in a big way in that department. Still had a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter, but it just was not meant to be. Southeastern, they will hang on, and they will get their first win of the year. Alright guys, so we will have our very first studio update of season number 5, and listen, we saw some upsets happen here already early on in the episode, and we see some close games here as well. We'll start with Western Kentucky. They hosted Western Illinois in what's been a out-of-conference rivalry game for them, but Western Kentucky does pull it out. They win 28-23 in order to get their first win of the season. Now, that being said, the Citadel also looked extremely good in their road matchup against Northeastern, as the Citadel does beat Northeastern 31-0 in order to get to a very good start here in season number 5 as well. Speaking of good starts, Texas Southern demolishes Southern Missouri State, as Texas Southern blows the doors open on the road as well. They win 48-10 on the road. But like I said, we did have another upset happen in the simulation, and it is the number 12 team in the nation going down. Northern Arizona, they lose to Mid-Tennessee State 29-21, which is a very disappointing start to the Lumberjacks. We'll see if they remain in the top 25. So we pick things up here in the late afternoon as we check in on a matchup that was voted on by some of your channel members. This was a very popular game to be picked, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in having some direct inputs on which games are shown in the FCS Dynasty, go ahead and check out my channel memberships down in the description, as well as that join button. But this was one games picked by your channel members, and it is Furman versus Chattanooga. Chattanooga's coming in at number 20 in the country, but Furman, they brought in that really good recruiting class in the year 3 offseason, right? So we'll see if that recruiting class continues to grow, because they were pretty disappointing in year number 4, but we'll see if they can hang with a top 20 team in the country. As Michael Lowe, he's going to drop back the pass, but he's going to throw a costly interception, and not only is a costly interception, it's also going to be a touchdown for Nick Freeman. Nick Freeman is going to go coast to coast and will end up being intercepted. So Chattanooga opening things up pretty well to start things out. A 10-0 lead for the Mocs. As now Chattanooga jumps back in, third and short. Quarterback's going to throw over to the left-hand side, but Furman's going to get that interception as well. Let's go. And we got a penalty on the field. Is it going to be? Yes, it is going to be a face mask. Furman will go on and get a field goal off of that. So back to being a one-possession game. We'll see if this offense can score a touchdown, though. And this could be the one. Running right up the middle of the field and is going to gash this defense in a big way. Touchdown, Furman. And the Paladins strike back. They will not be ran off this field, at least not today. At least not the start of today. So a close one here, 10-all, as Chattanooga looks to fire back, and he's going to find one of his favorite receivers, Mike Thomas, one of your guys' customs as well, going into, I believe, his junior year to this point. Yeah, he is a junior, and Mike Thomas, just, what? Who's supposed to cover him? I don't know if that was supposed to be his zone defense or what was going on there, but definitely a young person mistake there. As Furman, they need all the help that they can get, coming in as the underdogs, of course. And this is the help that they were looking for. Furman is going to recover the fumble as Mike Thomas put that football on the ground. And Furman now with a chance to take the lead here early in the second half. Michael Lowe, he's going to be in the shotgun formation. It's a play action. Fires to the right-hand side, and I don't know how that's caught, but it was caught. Touchdown, Furman. And Michael Lowe just gave Furman the lead here in the second half. They're all loving it, his teammates and all. And listen, this was great coverage, but just perfect throw. You cannot stop the perfect throw, especially the receiver maintains his concentration like that. Very good throw there. And also a very good throw to Malachi Ross as well, as Chattanooga takes back over. Makes a nice play on the football. Picks up the first down. But a few plays later, though, they can face a 3rd and 14. They're going to throw deep here, though, and find their guy, Mike Thomas, again, making a play on the football, taking advantage of those young DBs. And they're on the move. Next play, looking over to the right-hand side. It's going to be caught. Mark Spicer. He's feeling pretty spicy, I'll tell you what. At least on this drive. Finding Malachi Rice, the junior. And now a goal line situation. A few plays later, 3rd and goal. Spicer is going to get spicy here and finds Mike Thomas in spite of pressure right in his face. Gotta get those hands up in a spot like that. Mike Thomas giving Chattanooga the lead. They're up by 4. But can Furman rally back, though? We got an interception on the field. This Furman Paladins team, they are not going to be going away. At least not anytime soon. Trying to get the ball out to Mike Thomas again, but this time, great coverage. However, Furman can't do anything with the football. It's back in the hands of Chattanooga. And Chattanooga looking to ice this game down the sideline and gets brought down inside the 5-yard line. Furman, they're going to have to use one of their timeouts. They will only have one timeout remaining. I'm not so sure if they're going to have enough time to get the ball back. And if they score on this drive, it could very well be over. Spicer in a shotgun on first and goal. He's going to hand it off to his tailback. Got the big run earlier. He's going to finish the drive here as well. Touchdown, Chattanooga. And the Mocs are rolling. They are rolling now, 31-20. So Furman will come out onto the field, and at this point, if Chattanooga touches the football again, I think it's safe to say that, it could very well be over. It could very well be over right here, right now. And after that interception to Michael Lowe, it's over. But Chattanooga, you know how it is with college football, the only sport where style points matters. So they hand the football off. They could have just taken a knee, but they run the football instead, and they find the end zone once again. So, maybe some not so great sportsmanship, but the thing that I counter with that whenever I hear, not great sportsmanship is in those kinds of moments is if you don't like it, stop it. That's really what it barrels down to. You gotta stop them. If you don't want the score, ran up on you. That's really what it was. So Furman, they hung around with Chattanooga for a pretty long time, but the Mocs will be able to pull away here in the fourth quarter as Chattanooga is going to win 38-20. That will end up being your final score, as they will also avoid that top 25 curse from earlier on in the episode. So we'll see if these top 25 teams can get on a winning streak. They won their last couple of games, at least in gameplay. But now we will go in and see the number 5 ranked Western Carolina Catamounts go to that city of brotherly love and take on the Villanova Wildcats, who really are a fantastic basketball school. One of the best basketball schools in the entire country, but that football team is a different story. That football team is not built the same way, but maybe they can prove me wrong here, as we'll see this quarterback drop back the pass. It is going to be intercepted though, so not a great start here for the Catamounts, getting picked off like that late in the first quarter. Yeah, I absolutely hate to see it, and this is a big year for the Catamounts too, because Western Carolina, they are actually eligible for the FCS playoffs. They are no longer under NCAA restrictions, so they can actually go and compete for more than just a conference championship. They can compete for that national championship now, but they gotta take care of business throughout the course of his season. And Michael Young, he's not having a great start to that season. He's already got 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. As now dropping back the pass, looking over the middle of the field. He's going to find his receiver. His receiver might take it all the way, but he's going to be brought down instead at the 25-yard line. Villanova looking to make a name for themselves early in the year. 2nd and 3 for the 20-yard line, though. They're in the red zone. He's got plenty of time. Fires over the left-hand side, and it's going to be caught. First down for the Villanova Wildcats. Nothing too terribly crazy there, but they still are able to move the ball. Couple plays later, still a 2nd and short coming up. Dropping back, he's going to look to the flat, and he's going to find the end zone. Nobody covering the guy in the flat until it was too late. And the Villanova Wildcats, they score, and they take the lead here too. Following that touchdown drive, Western Carolina comes back out with Michael Young. And Michael Young, he is not on today. It's tough to see. It is really tough to see. We're not even through the first half yet. That's the crazy part in all of this. We're not even through the first half, and he's thrown 3 interceptions, not doing himself any favors. And how these upsets happen, this is exactly how they happen. I mean, look at the stats for Michael Young. 2 for 8, 45 yards, 3 interceptions. That's not it. And now Villanova with a chance to score here all of a sudden. Another red zone opportunity. And they're going to cash it in. Touchdown, Wildcats. We got an upset alert on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, as Villanova takes a 14-0 lead. Throwing over the right-hand side, though, Michael Young finally wakes himself up and realizes, hey, I got all these receivers. Let me be smart with the football. And finally, we see Western Carolina get their first touchdown of this game, finding the sophomore custom Brian Kahn. It is back to being a one-possession game, but Villanova, they're driving downfield themselves. 2-minute drill, trying to get that thing going. They won't be needing it much longer, though, as Pistol McNeil, the true freshman, gets caught up, and that's going to be deadly. That is going to be deadly. Another touchdown for Villanova. Gotta guard that zone a little bit better. And Villanova has the lead. They're up 21-10 at half. They're 1.5 away from pulling a massive upset. They're just keeping their foot on the gas pedal, though. Except this time, it does not necessarily work out, as the Catamounts get an interception on the first offensive play here of this first half. They will not be able to score anything, but glad to see that somebody on this team is waking up. Can we see more of that as the defense will get yet another turnover as well? That's Marcus Rogers. He'll get the interception for the Catamounts. And Western Carolina, they are officially going to be in business as well. Going to be starting to drive at the 37-yard line after the interception. Is now Catamounts taking over in Villanova territory. Couple plays later, going to hand it off to the tailback and puts the ball on the ground. Who got it? And it's recovered again by Villanova. Is Western Carolina trying to lose this game? Because this is exactly how you lose a game. That's the blueprint, what we are watching right now. So we need a big turnover, but they will get it. They will get the turnover, and he might take it to the crib. Touchdown, Catamounts. Sloppy game for both squads here as well. 7 combined turnovers. You hate to see it. And Western Carolina, they are going to be back in business. So now just a 4-point game now with 4:04 left to play in the third. Dropping back, it's Villanova. Looking to the right-hand side, it's a diving interception. Another turnover. In the turnover battles, they're somehow even. What are we doing? What are we actually doing? I have no idea. Let me know in the comments what's going on. But Western Carolina, they take over in the red zone again. Dropping back off the play action. Fires! And it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Western Carolina. And the Catamounts, they take their first lead of this game. And they're up by a field goal. And at this point, we now see the Catamounts team that was hyped up in the preseason a little bit. You gotta admit, very resilient team. Michael Young is a very resilient quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions in the first half, but he's still remaining aggressive, and now it's really starting to pay off. Villanova, have they ran out of gas? Because I'll tell you what, Western Carolina, they have 21 unanswered points since coming out here on this football field in the second half. So now starting the fourth quarter as Western Carolina takes over once again. They did get a safety on the defensive side of the football, and those points are gonna keep coming as Michael Young throws yet another touchdown pass with a little bit of help from the wide receiver, though, as that was Brian Davis, the true freshman custom that was trying to cover on that one, but gave up the reception. Also gave up the touchdown as well because he missed a tackle. In Western Carolina, they'll do the same thing. That's another custom as well. Pistol McNeil. That's a true freshman playing in his first college game of his career. He's going to get his first interception of his career, and he's also going to get his first touchdown of his career. You love to see it. A lot of playmakers brought in for Western Carolina, at least in this freshman class, as Western Carolina continues to do a great job just, recruiting. They made the most of those scholarship restrictions. I'm going to keep it real. I mean, they only had 15 scholarships to work with, and they found a way to get the job done. So you love to see that. 47-21 going to be your score, as we'll see this tailback go to work. He's got that impact star for a reason, going down the sideline, and does get brought down before, but not before he gets to that end zone. This turned into a blowout. I was actually very surprised that this did turn into a blowout. Western Carolina, they took care of business easily. They win 61-21. That ends up being your final score. You would not have realized that Villanova was leading this game if we just saw this box score. You had to see it to believe it. But Western Carolina, very resilient performance, and they blew out a team that they were supposed to blow out. So we find ourselves with our second studio update of this episode as we check in on the rest of the free 30 games that we've seen here in week number 2. We start with number 18, Akron. They went on the road to take on Penn from the Ivy League. We almost had an upset on our hands, but Akron able to pull it out, winning 31-28. As for the Sacramento State Hornets, they played Richmond in their first game of the season, and it was a shootout. But Sacramento State wins that one as well, 48-31 in their opener. But now we're starting to see that sunset, but that intensity is going to keep going throughout this episode. As we get into the late night games, we now will see Sam Houston State coming off an FCS playoff appearance, their first FCS playoff appearance of this series back in year number 4. They will take on a Hofstra team who, has made a little bit of noise within their own conference, but, not a nationally known program within the FCS. We'll see if Hofstra can change that narrative here as they look to pull a big upset here on their home field, as David Bullock's going to hand it off to Mike Miniacci. And how about that for setting a tone? Absolutely lighting up Mike Miniacci there. But Sam Houston State, they're going to bring a lot of firepower in this one, as David Bullock fires to the right-hand side. It's caught. Not a touchdown, but it's a really big gain. And Sam Houston State, they're known for their big plays on offense, but they're putting together a pretty methodical drive. This right here, going to be their 10th play of this drive, and Bullock hasn't let the ball touch the ground all drive. It will probably remain that way, as Sam Houston State, they use their opening drive to get into the end zone. That's a touchdown. And how about this as well? We see Sam Houston State take nearly half of that quarter for their very first drive. They're trying to suck the will out of Hofstra here early, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really do think to a degree that it is actually working here. It is actually working right now, as Rowe's going to get an interception. They'll get a field goal. No, they're not going to get a field goal out of this. I'm actually surprised that they didn't get any points out of that. But, it just goes to show, this is why you play the games. Sam Houston State, have all this firepower. They have all these 4-star, 5-star players, playing football for them. Hofstra, they're a developmental program, bringing the 3-stars when they can. Some 2-stars on this roster as well. But that being said, you can see the talent difference between these two teams, though, as Sam Houston State, they're going to get another turnover. This is one of their linebackers who's able to go ahead and take it back to the crib as well. And that's a touchdown for the Cardiac Cats, as Sam Houston State takes that 14-0 lead. Less than a minute left here in the first half. Bullock's going to drop back. He's going to fire over the middle of the field. Finds the senior custom, Craig Gregg. He's been a developmental guy, one of the few 3-stars that is on this roster. He has really worked hard to get the opportunities that he's received during his time at Sam Houston State. And now it creates a goal line opportunity for Mike Miniacci. And Mike Miniacci, he is not going to waste any time whatsoever. Another touchdown for Sam Houston State. It's a 21-0 lead. Hofstra, they oh so desperately need that spark. Can they get that spark here as Hofstra takes it down the sideline? Got all the space in the world. Don't get caught from behind. He does not. Touchdown, Hofstra. And the only person that could have gotten was feeding the guy in. He's a freshman custom. If he had 5 more yards, he could have made at least a diving attempt at him. but just couldn't close that gap fast enough. But one thing that I didn't realize when I was recording was I did not realize that we were in a Drake song, because we're going to see back-to-back kickoff returns for a touchdown. One for Hofstra, one for Sam Houston State. So a good lead here for the Cardiac Cats as they're up 28-10. But David Bolke's lost a little bit of his groove. He's only 7 for 16 now with an interception. Thankfully, Mike Miniacci just might make the play of this episode. He runs through 2 defenders at the same time. Nobody else on the Hofstra defense was ready to follow up, maybe tackle from behind. I'm guessing that they assumed that, hey, maybe this play is over. I mean, he runs through 2 guys. Like, I don't know what else to do. You got to get into that weight room, big fella. That's really what it barrels down to. Definitely they're not going to be excited about seeing that on the film here when they have to review film on the Monday. But Sam Houston State, they are going to pull away. They win 35-10 as their final score. And the Cardiac Cats look like a team that, you know, should have made it a little bit deeper in the playoffs last year. They were upset in year number 4, but they're looking to prove that what happened last year, that's not a fluke. This program is here to stay. And they proved it here today, man. 35-10 is your score. They really dominated on the defensive side of football in particular, as Hofstra, they were simply not ready for it. But so one thing that I am certainly ready for is the FCS game of the week. And for the second time in this season already, we're going to see Eastern Kentucky featured, the number 3 team in college football, at least down here at the FCS level. And they will go ahead and take on the Kent State Golden Flashes on the road. Another hostile environment. They dealt with SMU's last week. The Kent State not ranked in the AP Top 25 yet. So we'll see who Lee Corso picks. And he does pick Eastern Kentucky. But I think the Golden Flashes might be using that as billboard material, because first offensive play of the game, it's going to be a huge touchdown throw. And the Golden Flashes, I kid you not, they take the lead. I cannot believe that. Just Eastern Kentucky, one of the better defensive units in the entire country, and we saw some of that in week number 1. So now Eastern Kentucky down 7-0 as Cameron Coates tries to go to work, hands it off to Lewis Save, but the Heisman candidate at running back puts the football on the ground. I am shocked. I am so shocked that Louis Rosé fumbles the football. You rarely see that. You really do rarely see that. So Kent State, they're going to take over. 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. They're going to try to cash it in. And they are going to be successful in doing that. Touchdown, Golden Flashes. And they pull away here 14-0. Already going to be your score after 1 quarter of action. And one thing's for certain, this Golden Flashes squad, they are really putting that punch in. They are punching them in the mouth right now, as Eastern Kentucky struggling for answers. A few plays later, 3rd and long, dropping back. He's going to throw over the middle of the field, and Eastern Kentucky gets an interception. It's Johnson. No, it's Spencer. Down the field. He's going to score. Ryan Spencer with a potential spark plug play for the entire Eastern Kentucky football team. And now it's just a 1-score game again, as Kent State, Eastern Kentucky really needed that, because Kent State, they have really been dominating in yards gained. 120 something to 60, really not a good look, as now Kent State's offense goes back out on the field after that pick 6 and getting right back to it. I love the aggression here by the Golden Flashes. Dan Thomas, he's having a game so far. Already 181 passing yards, and we are not even close to getting to halftime yet. And this time it was just a go route. Just a go route where the receiver he runs away from everybody. He runs away from every single person, and now sets up yet another goal line situation. Looking down the right-hand side, it's going to be caught. Touchdown, Kent State. And the Golden Flashes get another score up on the board. 21-7, now gonna be your score. This is a surprise. Eastern Kentucky really having a difficult time dealing with this home crowd. A very hostile environment as well. Top 10 in terms of toughest places to play in the country, according to the game. And it's showing here, although Cameron Coates gets a nice throw there, tries to get himself back in rhythm. And listen, he hasn't turned the ball over. This is usually an offense that relies on Louis Rosé, but Cameron Coates is going to really have to bring it here. We'll see if he does here. Trying to communicate to his receivers. There's a lot of crowd noise though. Coates facing pressure. Fires! Caught! Chris Vaughn is going to find the end zone. Touchdown, Eastern Kentucky. And the Colonels get another one on the board. And we're back to a one-score game. Looking over the left-hand side. It's going to be intercepted here too. So now Eastern Kentucky, they can tie this game. They can actually tie this football game right now. It could still go either way. This is the kind of content that we're looking for when it comes to a game of the week. It's living up to that kind of hype. So now, 14-21 is your score as we will see if they can tie the game before halftime. Trying to throw over the middle of the field, looking for Chris Vaughn. But just Chris Vaughn, I think, was supposed to go one way, and he went the other. So quarterback and the receiver, they were not on the same page. They were simply not on the same page whatsoever, and it was costly, man. Kent State able to march down the field, get a field goal before halftime. So 2-possession game, and we'll see if Eastern Kentucky, they can rally back. Down by 10 is not looking good. 4th and 12, they will be forced to punt this football away. Rich is back to punt for the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. Does get a decent punt up on the field, but can the kick coverage catch up? He might have outkicked the coverage, and that's the case. Down the sideline. Touchdown. Golden Flashes. Another one on the board for Kent State. 31-14 your score. And we'll see if Eastern Kentucky can answer back. They've been on their back heels the entire time. 31-14. Here we go. Chris Vaughn with the return. Takes it right up the middle of the field. Runs away from the kicker. And he is gone. Like a girl in a country song as well. Another touchdown for Eastern Kentucky. That one going for 98 yards as well. So special teams answering the call. But can their defense do the same? Dan Thomas dropping back, but is going to run into a couple of Eastern Kentucky defenders as Kent State losing at the line of scrimmage there. So loss of 6 is now 2nd and 16 now coming up. Dan Thomas looking over the middle of the field. That's going to be intercepted though. Kevin Washington making the play. How about them apples? Eastern Kentucky getting back into this game. However, that being said, the Colonels cannot score, so a missed opportunity to get back into this game. Dan Thomas, however, he will not miss the chance to possibly ice this football game up right now. We're talking about a 46-yard touchdown pass, and that is going to seal the deal. The Golden Flashes on the game of the week, pull an upset on Eastern Kentucky. And listen, Kent State didn't just pull an upset. Let's be real with what happened here. What they ended up doing was that they blew out the number 3 team in college football. So, well, Kent State, they better be ranked in the top 25. If they're not ranked in the top 25, I'm about to go ahead and fight somebody, because this was a really impressive performance by Kent State. Eastern Kentucky, they shouldn't fall too terribly much. This was a very tough challenge to take on the road, a very difficult road environment. But losing by 20 points is definitely not good. So we'll close this episode out with the defending national champions, the Georgia Southern Eagles, who come into this thing. They are ranked number 2 in the preseason poll. The only team ranked ahead is actually New Hampshire. They ranked New Hampshire ahead of Georgia Southern. Maybe that's, I'm going to chalk that up to losing Ikeda Woods. He's a generational quarterback that's now in the NFL after his senior year. But, you know, still a lot of good players here at Georgia Southern. And we're also going to get a good look at DeMarco Wilson, who sneakily, very good quarterback, could be a borderline NFL prospect at the end of this season. So he's going to get a big test here early against this Georgia Southern team, one of the best teams in the country. We'll see if he can lead this Princeton squad to victory, or at least, put up some good stats, as we will get a good start to the David Benson era. David Benson, of course, your new starting quarterback for Georgia Southern with the graduation of Ikeda Woods. And leading good first drive here, as he's going to run this option well. Not as athletic as Ikeda, but does have a very good understanding of how the offense needs to be ran. And he's going to score a touchdown on the very first offensive drive of the season for Georgia Southern. Moving into the second quarter now, going into another option play. This is a guy that I'm really excited about, Joseph Krakowski. He finally gets a chance to start. He's been the bench player the past couple of years. He really, we got a glimpse of what he can do in the national championship game, and we see what he could do here too. Touchdown, Georgia Southern. We got a 14-0 lead, as Princeton is struggling to get their offense going here as well. So they'll have to punt this football away. Georgia Southern thinking about getting the punt blocking out, but Princeton, they audible into to counter that. We'll see if this offense can hold Joseph Krakowski from the end zone, and they will not. Joseph Krakowski with 2 touchdowns in the game already. It's a 21-0 game. Later on in the game, 3rd and 10, David is going to drop back and is going to be sacked though. So, they're trying to change the offense up a little bit for David Benson, have some more pass plays in there, but the rest of the offense is not as used to that. So, there might be a little bit of early growing pains on the offensive side of football, but, they're still pitching a shutout so far. But that will change on this punt return, as this receiver is able to run away from David Abdullah, who, very quick receiver, by the way. So Georgia Southern is now up 21-7. Princeton finally gets on the board, though, not from their offense, but from their special teams. We'll see if their special teams can do that a second time, but it's instead, guys going to put the ball on the ground, and Georgia Southern, they are going to recover the fumble. And, not a lot of highlights in this game in particular, but, Georgia Southern, they win their game 24-7. They will need to improve their offensive output as the year goes on, but we saw how good this defense could be, and DeMarco Wilson just could not figure them out today. No offensive points for DeMarco Wilson. He doesn't turn the football over, but 2 for 10 for 33 yards is a really terrible look when you're trying to make it into the NFL from the FCS level. Now, before we go in and check on the top 25 polls, as well as maybe some other stuff as well, let's go ahead and check out the late night scores that we did not see in gameplay. Northwestern State, they take care of business against Rhode Island, as Rhode Island falls to 0-2. They lose 34-16 at home. James Madison also takes care of their business as they try to get back to the national championship game, as they beat UCF 31-16. But biggest shock of the week so far, we see Southeast Missouri State opening game against UNLV. They drop it at home. They lose 24-13. That could really affect them. Now, as for Central Michigan, they get things started in the right way. Starting just barely in the top 25, they destroy Bethune-Cookman 38-7 on the road. As does Arkansas Pine Bluff. They take on their fellow in-state opponent, Arkansas State, and the Golden Lions take care of business, winning 27-7. Now, one team that's not in the top 25 but looking to make a little bit of noise is Alabama State. They took on the Denver Pioneers in non-conference action, and Alabama State blows them out. 52-18 ends up being your final score. That being said, San Diego State, they will get season number 5 start as well. They take on the North Dakota Fighting Hawks, and San Diego State wins 43-24 to get the 1-0. Stephen F. Austin is also a team outside the top 25, though, that is looking to make some serious noise. They take down the Ragin' Cajuns to open up the season. They win big, winning 40-10. Also winning big to start the season is the Rice Owls, and while it's not the same outcome of victory, they take down a top 25 team in South Carolina State. Rice wins this one 35-21. And finally, to wrap up the final studio update in this episode, we got Tennessee Martin taking on the Eastern Michigan Eagles, and the Skyhawks soar in this one. They win 49-23. It was a great game for the Skyhawks. But we get back to the Sports Illustrated magazine, and look who's on the cover. That UNLV squad that pulled the upset on Southeast Missouri State. We are going to see what kind of impact that has on the top 25 polls. And listen, first couple of teams, still holding pretty firm. New Hampshire and Georgia Southern, those are your top 2 squads. We do, however, see a few teams move up one spot. North Dakota State, Western Carolina, and James Madison all move up one spot. Sacramento State, after a pretty impressive performance on the road against Richmond, they move up a few spots as well, and so does San Diego State, so that cements them into the top 10, as does Sam Houston State as well after their 25-point win over Hofstra. Portland State, despite being on bye, they are getting some respect early on in the season as well. They move up to number 9 in the country, as does the Skyhawks of Tennessee. Barton, they are now a top 10 team after destroying Eastern Michigan at home. Now, we do have one of our biggest droppers of the week, and that is Eastern Kentucky. They fall down 8 spots to number 11 after a 3-touchdown loss to the Kent State Golden Flashes. Texas Southern, however, proves that they are a team to be reckoned with. They are eligible for the FCS playoffs for the first time in the past few seasons, and they're number 12 in the nation. Akron is up 5 spots to 13, even though they had a very close game against Penn, so we'll see if they're overrated or not. Someone who isn't overrated, though, is Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're looking to make their first FCS playoff appearance as well, as is Chattanooga. They're trying to get back to the playoffs. They made it in year number 3 due to NCAA sanctions. They're looking for their first legitimate playoff appearance. Now, jumping into the bottom third of this top 25 poll, Southeast Missouri State, they actually dropped 9 spots after a 11-point loss to UNLV. Northwestern State moves up 4 after a 18-point win over Rhode Island, as does Western Kentucky. Central Michigan also moves up 4 spots as well. We do have Southern, though. They are actually our biggest droppers of the week. They lost by 2 touchdowns against Brown on national television. Lots of concerns there with the Southern Jaguars program. And then, of course, the final 5 teams in the poll: Eastern Illinois, South Carolina State, despite losing to Rice, Southeastern, Northern Arizona, who fell 12 spots to number 24, and then Rice is actually your newest welcome into the top 25 poll. They beat South Carolina State and they earned their way in. Now, we'll check out some of the teams that are also receiving votes as well, and some teams certainly to watch out for as the season goes on. Nicholls State, Eastern Washington, Samford, who was the only team to jump out of the top 25, Alabama State, Kent State, who just beat Eastern Kentucky in the game of the week, and rounding out the group is Weber State and Temple. As for the Heisman watch that we got going on right now, and your top 3 is still the same. Stephen Robinson is still at number 1 with 8 touchdown passes in the game against the College of Charleston, who actually do have a really good basketball program as well, real life. Dustin Arnold is still sitting at number 2, and then Darrell White, he's sitting at number 3 right now. He only had a few carries against the Mid-Tennessee State Blue Raiders, so we'll see if he can hang on. But we do have a couple of newcomers as well. Corey Hall is in here, the senior quarterback from Sacramento State. He had 6 touchdowns in the win against Richmond, so much deserved. And then a defensive player on the Heisman watch. We don't see this very often. Raymond Spencer, the junior linebacker from Eastern Kentucky. He was brilliant in their last game. He had a sack, interception, and a defensive touchdown. He's having a really good year so far. And of course, we have our NCAA Players of the Week, and no surprises here. Stephen Robinson is the Offensive Player of the Week. I mean, the guy threw 8 touchdown passes. If he didn't get NCAA Player of the Week, we were going to have some serious problems. Defensively, though, Patrick Kennedy is going to be your NCAA Player of the Week. He is a senior linebacker from Western Carolina. In that 40-point win over Villanova, he was a guy that really made a difference. Even though he only had a few tackles as a linebacker, a couple of them were behind the line of scrimmage. Both were sacks, by the way. He got an interception, he got a forced fumble, and he also got a touchdown as a linebacker You love to see all of that. So now we have FCS year number 5 officially underway and in full swing, and I'm sure you guys are really excited for it. Next weekend we will continue the FCS action as we move on to week number 3 of the FCS Dynasty here in year number 5. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content, and if you did, it would really help a brother out if you smash that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John Chick Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.